Hey guys, welcome back to Nature's Cadence Farm. Today we're going to be setting up a new fenced-in area for either a sheep or a goat. And what we're going to be using is some Premier One fencing, and we've got some poultry netting that we use for the sheep and the goats, and they're 164 feet long. So the way I like to set up the runs, and you can see I've got a lot of junk behind me. There's some briars and things, growing, so I'm going to need to kind of get an idea of where I need to start first. And the way I do that is with the measuring wheel. And let me go get that for you real quick. So here's the measuring wheel, and this is telescopic for easy transport and storage, but I've got it extended out. So what this has is a counter on here. You can see those numbers right there. And what these do, so every rotation, as the wheel turns, it actually counts how many feet you've gone, and how many inches for that matter. So it has a reset button on there, so what I do is I reset it to 0, and I know I want my fence to start here. So what I do is I take my little wheel here, and I'll kind of get a rough idea of where I want to go. Like I know I want to encompass this tree, because I want the animals to have some shade, this maple right here. And so what I do is I kind of get an idea in my head. I kind of have a pretty good idea how far to go, but if you don't, just get you a wheel and kind of roll it around a little bit and kind of say, yeah, that looks about right, that much area there. So let's go ahead and take this. I'm going to take it down a kind of a path that I've already kind of cleared a little bit, and then back up, and I'm going to get it through some of this rough stuff here. So let's see if we can do that. So you can kind of see that's how I go through the motions there. If you take 164 feet, which is the length of the fence, let's say we divide it up into 4 pieces, that's a 40, 80, 120, and then another 160. So that's 40, 40, 40, and 40. So if you're kind of trying to make it a square, that's what you're going to do, and then you got 4 feet extra or whatever to play with. But if you kind of, you figure when you go forward and then you take another turn and you go and you get to about 80 feet, that's where you need to start turning again to start going back on itself. So that's kind of a rough estimate of what I've got. So I've got it close to 164 feet, but not quite. But what I'm going to do now is go get the DR mower and a weed eater, but a DR mower for sure, and that's going to get me a nice wide path in all this brush, so I can get a good solid measurement on the wheel to figure out exactly where I'm at. So let's go get the DR mower and get that fired up and see if we can get a nice trail so we can walk through. All right, I've got a nice little trail cut through here. I made it 2 passes wide with the DR mower there, and what I'm going to do is just double check with the wheel. I'm going to find a good starting point, let's say right here, and I'm just going to go up and around and check the measurement here. So let's do that. All right, to right here I've got 162 feet. I went a little on the inside of all my turns, so if I go a little wide, I should be able to take up that 2 feet of fence with no problem at all. So let's go get the old fence out of the ground now. It's where we used to have Coco the goat, and so we're gonna go pull that out. I'll show you how I wrap up the Premier One fencing, because it is kind of a little bit of a technique to do it. So here's the fence here. I've got, each little section here, I think is about 10 or 11 feet or something. But what I like to do is kind of go from the inside and I'll lay it over, and then I'll walk to the next post and kind of fold it up onto itself. So let's try that out. So when you get done, you should have a bundle of posts and then all the netting back there. So it's easy to transport and pick up and lay down, and easy to lay back out when you go to set up your fence. So let's go do that now. This first post that's going to be on the outside with the extra wire hanging off of it and the extra heavy rope, the electric rope. What I'm going to do here is get this in the ground first, and that'll give me something to kind of pull against while I'm unrolling the rest of the bundle. So I'm just going to put that in the ground, and that'll be nice to kind of hold the netting while I pull the rest of the bundle out. So here's the last pole on the netting, and you can see with all the measuring we did, it just lines up perfect. I don't have a big bundle, and I'm not 5 feet short. So what I'm going to do now is just work from this corner and kind of go that way a little bit, and then I've got a little extra room kind of out there. So what I'm going to do is kind of work this way, and then whatever extra I've got I can kind of fluff out there if I have any extras. So let's go get started doing that. What I'm going to do is get started by tying these two together. This one I happen to have a loop in, so that's kind of nice. It'll hold them together. I also have this piece of wire. Sometimes I use wire like this, and I'll loop it around like that for a gate kind of thing. But what this will do is it'll give me a nice place to start from when I go to tension everything up. And these just push into the ground. You might have to poke around, at least in my soil, I have to kind of poke around and find a soft spot for it to go into. What I've got here is the last in the corner. I've got everything tensioned that way and this way. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and kind of tension everything up with the bottom. And I like to put it in at a little bit of an angle, facing kind of out that way, and I'll still support it. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a second. But yeah, there you go. The fence is up, and we're going to get our support post on there now. Here's a bundle of support posts here. That's what I call them, or the corner braces. But this is just a step-in post. I've got some baling twine on here, and I'll hook it around this corner, and I'll go at an angle that's good for all the poles, and this will really get it about right. You don't want to get it tight before you put it in the ground. You want to have just a little bit of slack, because as soon as you drive it in the ground, it's going to tighten up. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just hold it like that, and I'll start it. If you got it too tight, you'll just back it out. I got to get it in a different spot. There we go. That's perfect. So you can see Now that's nice and tight, it doesn't pull on that corner, and it'll keep the netting perfect while you have it installed. I've got another problem up here in this corner. The post, one of these posts, didn't really line up with the corner that well. I'm going to show you how I fixed that. Alright, so what I've got here is part of the net that's in a corner, and it really doesn't have any of those fiberglass posts from the netting. So I've just got a step-in post here, and I don't clip in all of them, I just clip in the very top wire. What I'll do is I'll pull tension on the bottom of it, step it into place like that, and make sure none of the hot lines are touching the metal pole part. And then this corner we're going to put another support piece with the rope. So here's another one, got the rope already installed, and I just put a couple loops on each end, wrap it around there just like before. Remember, leave a little slack in it, because as soon as you put it in the ground and tighten it up, you know, as soon as you push it in the ground, it's going to tighten up this corner too. And you can see already it put a nice tension on it, and that's perfect. That's what we need. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to put the rest of the supports on the corners, and this will be ready for the charger to be put on. I had a little low spot here, or a high spot in the ground, and it made the fence kind of touch. So what I did is I clipped the top wire of the netting into that post to just kind of hold everything up. But you can see once I got everything tensioned, it's nice and tight. Looks great. This is how I like to do the corners where the actual entrance is, where the two poles meet. I've got the rope for the corner brace attached to the pole that has the wire wrapped around it, or the stationary part of the loop that I'm going to use. And then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take rope and put it down in the middle if I have them spreading apart a little bit. That seems to help. But I'll show you, this way you can get in and out of the gate pretty easily. Here's that wire I was talking about earlier, and all you do is you just pick it up like this, and there's your gate, and then you can get in and out. But once it's together, since the bottom is in there, super tight, and they can't get through there. Like I said, you can see how it spreads. That's why I'll put a rope right there to kind of hold everything together. Alright guys, well there you go. You can see it's nice and tight going up that way. We've got our gate right here. Looking amazing, super easy, super fast. This is how I do it, how I've been doing it. I didn't really want to share this until now on how I set these up, because I've kind of got it dialed in, so you're going to get the best bang for your buck spending time here, because you know, I've got it figured out pretty good for my situation. Now, if you guys have any ideas, thoughts, you know, questions, obviously, but if you know of a better way or anything like that, I would love to know, because I spend a lot of time moving fences around in the spring, summer, and fall, and that would just be amazing if you could share those. You can comment down below, and what I'll do for any of these products that you see here that I use today, I'll put some links down below so you can check those out. But yeah, this is super easy, like I said, and this netting is amazing. It holds up very well. This is Premier 1 poultry netting, and this is the part number 201800. The poultry net 1242-3, and those numbers mean something if you go to their website or get their catalog. Really nice catalog, by the way. You'll have all the information you need for this fencing. So anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.